Rachel Hunt took a wild victory last week at Talladega, showing the boys how it's done. This puts her in the interesting position of being the first woman to lead a championship here on GSRC. But one round does not a champion make. Today, she's got to back it up at Iowa and fend off some wicked fast drivers. We'll see if she can continue the momentum as we get ready to watch round 2 of the PRL NASCAR Truck Series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Adam Lindgren. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Crackers Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Adam, Iowa's going to be a very different beast from last week, but the good news is that the caution should go by much more quickly.
Definitely, Joe, but that is probably the smallest change from Dega to this place. Iowa Speedway is one of the more unique ovals on the calendar, with its 12 to 14 degrees of progressive banking and the 7/8 of a mile or 1.408 kilometer track difference, if you're asking NASCAR. Speaking of the American Racing Company, this is the only track that NASCAR outright owns and races their own cars at. Being designed by Rusty Wallace, it has a soft spot in many drivers' hearts. These truckers tonight, though, may be a little bit more frustrated than usual. With a last-minute setup change, a surprise open qualifying, and the added complexity of the new tire model, we're likely to see a few interesting wrecks tonight. But let's cut the chatter and see how hard it really is to drive the NASCAR Gander Outdoors Series truck around Iowa in our GSRC lap guide.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Global SimRacing Channel. I'm Brian Yazek. This is the GSRC Silverado at Iowa Speedway. Fun little 3/4 mile short track right in the heart of America. So down the front stretch for your hot lap, you're going to try to find the bottom right here. Let it float down. There's going to be a big bump right there in the middle of the corner. Let it drive straight off. Not to get back into the gas too quick, or the rear will try to meet the front of the truck. Down into turn 3 here. Find the yellow line a little bit, about half a lane off. Don't get back into the gas too quick, or the rear will try to jump around again, just as what happened to me. Iowa is going to allow guys to run all over the place. So you're going to see guys maybe take a little higher entry into this corner, maybe run that seam, maybe get off the corner a little straighter. There's a whole lot of options here, but in turns 3 and 4, the best line is going to be right up here next to that wall. Let it roll in, kind of diamond the middle of the corner, get back into the gas on exit, not too hard, and then on a turn 4, down the front stretch. And that's going to complete our track guide at Iowa Speedway. I'm Brian Yazek, and this was the Chevy Silverado.
Obviously, the lap guide was during the day, but you can tell we're going to be racing at the night. Before we get to the racing action on the track, we want to remind you that this series is brought to you by Diecast Kings. Shop Diecast Kings, your home for the best selection of NHRA and NASCAR diecast cars, is at diecastkings.com. Big thanks to them for coming on board this season, but let's talk about the driver's points here real quick. As we mentioned, Rachel Hunt is leading the way, but it is a scant 1 point because it was only one round so far. In fact, you can see 1 point separates all of the top 5 between them. And today should really give us a little bit of a clearer picture of how this season is going to look once we're done here at Iowa. Just in case we have new viewers, though, Adam, why don't we go over the race details and give our viewers an idea of just how the PRL runs?
Yeah, definitely. This is round 2. This is a 115 lap race around Iowa, or 60 minutes, whatever comes first. They're with a fixed setup tonight, which is something we'll talk about a little bit later. And they do have one green-white checkered and a 24 incident limit as well, but no spare trucks. So that's going to make things very tight around here tonight. And so they're going to have to take care of these trucks for sure.
And qualifying's just finishing right now. Bit of apologies as we are on something of a late start here, but we're going to get the race in. And your provisional pole sitter is going to be J.R. Smith. No surprises here that Bradley Hawley is also on the front row, close with his new teammate, William Hartman. With the qualifying over, let's go over that starting order here with our grid. It is going to be J.R. Smith starting on the top spot. Bradley Hawley starting in P2 today. William Hartman will be on row 2 to the inside in 3rd position. Thomas Sink starts P4, followed by Jared Morgan in 5th. Paul Johnson starts P6, and then Rob Haynes in 7th. Colton Lane starts P8 today. Then Trevor Clement with a good qualifying in 9th. Christopher Burnham rounds out your top 10.
Daniel Knight's going to start off P11 with Jake Houndshell starting in 12th. Paul Williams is going to start off in 13th position alongside his teammate Josue Tellez. Rachel Hunt, last week's winner, starts off P15 alongside Michael Burnett in row 8, with Jeff Harrison and Brendan Chatley rounding out row 9. Brett Adams and Dan McLaren round out your top 20.
First goes to Charles Sumner, then Brandon Walter will be starting P22. Nick Roby, 23rd today at the drop of the green. Then you've got Todd Smith to his outside in 24th. Jason Houndshell starts 25th and Blaine Adams in 26th. Craig Holden managed to put it into 27th on qualifying. Mike Richter, 28th. Austin Hunter starts 29th today. Dominic Bugine, unusually low for him in qualifying. He's all the way in 30th.
Actually, with quite a few of those, Joe, with Adam Young, another one in 31st alongside John LaBath. Adam Zemke and Adam Shane are going to be in row 17, and then we have Brian Hotham and Barry Peel in row 18. 37th is Matthew Aubrey alongside J.R. Bash in 38th, and then Nicholas Hunter in 39th, and Nick Pruitt in the 40th position.
Looks like Barron Hilton will actually start this race. So 41 drivers that will take to the track. It is a very packed field here. And what is effectively a short track, it's less than a mile long. Not the longest of laps around here, even in these trucks. We'll see how they all handle it. Of course, they do have cautions on in this series, but it is limited on time. So those 115 laps might not all be completed when all is said and done. They're all now taking off behind the pace car here. J.R. Smith looking good, though. Not many are quicker than Bradley Hawley, and though we've seen Smith up at the front in the past here, Adam, this is a very good sign for the number 3.
Definitely, J.R. Smith putting in a good time, but you have to remember that there's a couple of oddities that happened. They had limited practice time, and they had a surprise open qualifying. So this all comes down to whoever got the best lap in that short qualifying session with everyone on track. And it's possible that JR just got a better tow, but Bradley only being 2 100ths behind, that's not that far. So it's just an impressive show from JR Smith regardless.
Watch out for the bonus points here today. There's a few that the drivers can get. One has already been settled. Pole position gives 2 bonus points to J.R. Smith. Most laps led will give another 2 points at this round. Leading a lap will give you 1. The fastest lap will be decided at the end of the race. That will be 1 more bonus point. And then any driver who gets less than 3 incident points gets another bonus at the end of the race. So there's ways that you can still rack up the points as things go by. And we'll try and keep you up to speed on that throughout the championship. They are going to start this time around as they are now on their second pace lap. Then hopefully we'll go racing for a whole 115 laps here at Iowa Speedway. The Mustang pace car getting ready to release J.R. Smith down on the low side. Pace car is in. The number 3 has control. He's waiting. He's not going to take off early. Green flag is out, and it's actually a very slow start for J.R. Smith. Up on the high side, Hawley a nose ahead at the line. As they come down, he's going to back out of it, let him through. A little bit of a battle behind them as Hartman slots into third. Mogard now to the underside of Sink down the back stretch, but otherwise it's a pretty good start.
Yeah, Thomas Sinkang trapped on that high side. Rob Haynes behind him in that 6th position is really trying to make it work. But look at this. They're all going single file down the front stretch now as these trucks still trying to get their tires a little warmed up from that starting grid. Oh, we have a wreck already. That is Josue Tellez, I believe, going around.
Ooh, part of the 24/7 team. Usually fast, and he gets hit by another driver, Barron Hilton, all the way at the back of the field. Finds him. Let's look at the replay. I think the 24 had some help.
He did. He got help from the 39 truck.
That was Burnett. Just straight up shoved him out of the way. Everybody else, though, great job avoiding him. That could have been a much bigger wreck.
This is a very curious incident. It looks like the 39 just did not back off of Tellez once he got him loose. And that ended up causing the 24 to go around. It looks like he might have been able to save it before that, but yeah, just a very unfortunate incident for Tellez.
Yeah, that sort of thing is something you expect when there's beef at the end of the race or something, not here at the very start. Probably just maybe a little of internet connection issue Because again, drivers don't always know exactly how close they are down to the centimeter. And when you race close on the ovals, sometimes that's where you get those weird instances where it looks like a driver is doing something untoward. But up at the front, well, after that start, Hawley could have maybe tried to go for the lead, but decided maybe to try and avoid any potential penalties and backed out. He'll restart in second, Hartman in third now from that start. Mogard up from fifth to fourth there. He did a really good job in just a couple corners.
Yeah, he did, and I'm looking back at Jose Tellez, and I can report that he's got a little bit of rear end damage, but around a track as short as this, that's not going to affect him that much around this track. So as long as he didn't bend up the wheels or anything like that, he should be okay to go again.
Now, big talking point that we were discussing before we came live here, Adam. New tire model here on the trucks, the latest here from iRacing, and it behaves quite differently from the old tires, at least on the early laps. I mean, are the cold tires going to be an issue for these drivers?
The cold tires can definitely be an issue. Can get you tight or loose depending on the setup, and considering the fact that they haven't had much practice, neither the drivers nor we know what that setup is going to be like on these cold tires. So it's going to be a gamble, and it's going to be whoever's the best wheel man or wheel woman who's going to be able to hang on to these trucks on these cold restarts.
It's pretty cool out there tonight as well. 69 degrees Fahrenheit on the track surface, 66 in air temperature. So feels good to the fans, but certainly the drivers are going to have to be doing a bit of weaving like you're seeing here just to get those tires up to temperature and try and get some heat in them before they restart to avoid any sort of wheel spin out there. We're still under caution, and I think we'll get the one to go next time by. The lights are still flashing on the pace car right now. Not the best start to the not to the season, but to the race tonight here with our first caution on lap 2. But I expect we've seen lots of races here at Iowa with this league already, Adam. So these drivers know how to handle themselves around this track.
They definitely do, and these drivers can get prone to long runs once we, just get a little bit into the race and people start to understand. You got to remember that this is the first race, as we see the lights go off on the pace car, this is the first race where these drivers have really been able to see each other's different driving styles. Talladega is one of those very unique tracks where it has a very unique strategy, but this is the first time that a lot of these drivers, especially with the new drivers tonight, that they're seeing how each other drives. So we're going to see a little bit of growing pains to begin the race.
That's a good point. There's some rookies in here, not necessarily rookies to iRacing, but rookies to their fellow drivers. And there's a little bit of an adjustment to seeing how everybody else around you behaves and making sure that you kind of mesh well with your friends around you on track. So as we wait for the pace car to come in, Smith going to have control once more. Mustang pace car finds his way down to the lane. Smith much earlier on the throttle this time. Green flag is out, and he got the jump over Bradley Hawley. They're all single file for the top 3, while Thomas Sink is looking to try and overtake Mogard down for 4th place, but Mogard uses that high line to good effect.
And that high line looks to be the place to be on these restarts. Thomas Sink's going to have to fall in the line. That is Rob Haynes and Trevor Clement side by side behind them, the 29 truck and the 111 truck. And Rob Haynes looks like he's just going to power it into the corner and try and make it work. Whoa, Thomas Sink very loose coming off of 4.
Yeah, that's going to hand it over easily to Johnson, and in fact, slow down into 1 and 2 for the number 48. He might actually get swamped by Clement here, as well as Haynes. Haynes gets around the outside, continuing to drop down. Thomas Sink, looking at potentially a podium, is now all the way down in 8th.
And behind all of these guys is a complete rat's nest for the 10th position, with Christopher Burnham up ahead of quite a few trucks, and they're all being held up by all of these folks behind them. But the battle in front of them is actually interesting as well between, I believe it's Hartman and Hawley side by side.
Ooh, and these two have history, but they're teammates now, as Hawley's going to hold off Hartman for the 2nd spot. There you see being led by J.R. Smith still. They tick off yet another lap. This is looking a little bit more orderly this time. So they're starting to get a little bit of a breakaway, the top 4. Right now, Mogard gapping back to Johnson just by what looks like about half a second.
Yeah, and I can actually report that Dan McLaren and And Brett Adams actually had an incident coming out of 4 just the previous lap. They had a big moment, and both of them are still driving, but Brett Adams has some significant damage now.
We got 3 wide back around 9th and 10th. Colton Lane, Burnham back there. Daniel Knight was on the low side. He backs out of it. It's a little bit too early for stuff like that. So he'll settle for what looks like might be 12th place, because up on his outside now, that's Jake Hounshell getting a nice little run in the number 94, but he's going to be blocked in. Just in front of him, that's Christopher Burnham, and he's going to look to the high side for another 3 wide, but again, not enough speed.
And Joe, we're going to have to go back to the lead because Bradley Hawley is trying to take his opportunity on J.R. Smith. He's gone to the low side, and J.R. Smith holding it on that high side, but it looks like the trucks are a little bit loose off once you start to get into this run. So let's see whether or not Bradley Hawley can make this work. Almost door-to-door contact, but J.R. Smith and Bradley Hawley both hang on to it.
Wow, he knew just how low he could take that truck, and actually that pinched down Bradley Hawley enough that he's managed to get a nose ahead. Don't count out William Hartman in the number 67. He's watching to see who he needs to throw his hat in with. Right now, with the pace going in favor of J.R. Smith, he's going to stay on the high side. Smith, once again, nearly chopping off Bradley Hawley. He'll get back up to the lead, and Hawley gets into his teammate, the 67, brushing the outside of 2.
And here comes Jared Mogard behind them. He's going to try and get up here for this battle, but look at that. J.R. Smith pulling away to about a half-second lead over William Hartman. These trucks very tight to the point of loose on exit. Once you get tight enough on exit, once you go over that little hump back onto the straightaway, you can get the back of the trucks loose again. So these trucks really hard to drive right now.
Bogart having to think about 3rd place. He's underneath Bradley Hawley now, and he might actually manage to get it if he can get the shot off of 4. Looks like he won't be able to carry the momentum quite as well as the multi-time champion, so the 184 retains 3rd place, and they get back single file.
Got to remember that these truckers are just trying to adapt to this truck that they didn't have much practice on, so a lot of these drivers are just struggling to see what the truck's going to do underneath them. So we're taking a look at Bradley Hawley now. He's very effective in this truck for sure, but that is Jared Mogard and William Hartman. They're all up there battling J.R. Smith for that lead position.
In fact, it's spread apart a little bit up there for the 4th drivers. So between Johnson, Haynes, and Clement, they're the ones that have come together back there. A little bit of an update. We don't need to go to it, but farther back in the field to Les, up to 30th now after restarting at the very back of the field. Continue to watch here with Johnson trying to do what he can to hold off Haynes.
He's doing his best. He's really working hard at it, but Haynes doing a good job just trying to stay right on his bumper. Paul Johnson, we saw how fast he was last week and how aggressive he was at Talladega. Let's see whether or not he can convert that into a relatively short track success here.
And they're already coming up on a bit of lap traffic. Craig Holden's going to get down low out of the way of our leaders. But Hartman, ever since he got past Hawley here, has started to run down J.R. Smith and is now seeing if maybe he could do something with that bright yellow machine. Teammates with Haynes, we should point out, is J.R. Smith, so that's going to help them in the team's championship with how high up they are currently in this race.
Definitely. It looks like William Hartman's got it figured out, at least through 1 and 2. He's able to get really good speed off of that corner. Let's see whether or not he can figure it out through 3 and 4. Remember, he's just testing the waters here, trying to figure it out how it's going to work.
They're really taking it all the way out to the wall on the exit of 4 as well. And they're all starting to accordion back together. Hawley and Mogard are starting to catch those top 2 as well. In fact, Mogard's going to try and move things up a little bit quicker as he gets below Bradley Hawley down through 3 and 4. Can he execute the pass? We saw him try this a little bit before. The answer is no today.
Yeah, Joe, just doesn't look like that low line is able to maintain the speed off the corner, so Bradley Hawley's just able to keep it going. But Jared Mogard is using up a lot of his front tires, trying to turn it in underneath Bradley Hawley. And even though he may be faster right now, he's got to remember, Bradley Hawley is a multi-time series champion here at the PRL NASCAR Truck Series. So taking notes from the guy ahead of him might not be a bad idea.
Let's jump a little bit farther back in the field because Jake Hounshell, Daniel Knight, Mike Burnett, are all very close together. This is fighting for the 11th position. Paul Williams looking up on the high side in the number 7, but he can't quite seem to carry his speed as well, so they all go single file. Remember, we were talking about Rachel Hunt leading the championship coming in. Well, right now she's down in 16th, not looking strong currently.
Yeah, that's down 1 position from her starting position, and seems really uncomfortable with this set right now. It's not working out for her at the moment. Jeff Harrison, ahead of her in the 15th position, has been trying to catch Paul Williams for the last couple laps, and it looks like they're all getting held up behind, I believe that's Jake Hounshell right now, but Christopher Burnham, who was holding them up before, has found a little bit of speed and has also caught up to Colton Lane and Thomas Sink ahead of him.
Watching from on board, Hunt now seeing just the string of trucks all in front, but really no place to go as they swing it into first corner again. Christopher Burnham, I think, just got overtaken by Lane.
Yeah, he's actually been trying to pass Lane lately, and that last attempt did not work out. So Christopher Burnham, looks like a lot of these drivers are really struggling to pass with how tight the truck is tonight, and so they're going to have to either make a good run off the corner or wait for mistakes later on in the run.
On screen, that's a battle between Harrison Williams. Williams looks like he's going to come out with the position. Oh! Chops off the 7. That actually causes Rachel Hunt to have to take avoidance maneuvers. She goes down low, but I think she's still going to be able to get by Williams.
Oh, a little bit loose off the corner. She had to really tighten up her turn to exit, but she's going to hang out there on that bottom side, really dive it in and try and make that work. But Paul Williams holding out strong on the high side. Rachel Hunt's going to have to do the slide job to get up ahead of him, and she pulls it off.
Williams, unusual to see him this far down and also losing spots. I almost wonder, is there tire wear on the new model tire, the version 7 tire there, Adam? Are maybe some of these drivers just managing it for a long stint now that we've been going green a while?
I would definitely say so, especially because if we take a look at our leaders and their gaps, J.R. Smith has about a 5/10 gap over William Hartman and Bradley Hawley right now. Those two are really starting to kind of just take a measure of each other right now and just kind of hang out and ride around. And we're getting reports that the lap times are really falling off. The fastest lap on this track so far has been a 24, low 24, I believe. It came from J.R. Smith, and well, that was the last lap. The best laps are in the 23.5s and the 23.4s, so they're down about half a second a lap, Joe.
That's pretty significant on an oval. A driver who seems to be managing his tires well is Smith, who's got about a half a second now. A little bit farther back, some action between Mike Burnett and Jeff Harrison. Harrison goes low in the number 11. He's going to manage to get ahead, but the 39 looks like he is carrying speed, maybe too much as he almost brushes the wall.
Mike Burnett trying to do the over-under on Jeff Harrison as Harrison dove it low underneath him. But Harrison was able to keep it down low, and that made Mike Burnett have to ride his bumper. That took the air off the front bumper, and that caused him to push a little bit into getting loose on the outside. But look at this, the 7 underneath Rachel Hunt. That is Paul Williams trying to go back at Rachel Hunt from the last pass that we saw with those two.
Williams trying to bring himself back forward here. He recently lost his position. Oh, we got a caution. I think Barry Peel out of turn 2.
That's correct. Yes, it is.
And Tellez is involved in the second one. This time he was on the reverse end of things. If you want a good onboard, Dominic Pagine barely avoided the incident. The 9 gets it turned back around, so not major damage there from Peel.
This is an interesting thing from Tellez and Peel. It looked like Tellez thought that he had that inside line on the yellow line, but Peel just drove it down and kind of just cut off his nose a little bit. And then I believe Peel's kind of entitled to that position right there, but that coming together, I don't think it was intentional by either of them.
Definitely not. As we watch from Dominic's perspective, got a little bit of contact, just the slightest we saw from the first angle. And let's see what Adam Young's view is, because he was behind this as well. He had a little bit more time to react. You could see it happening. Ooh, he just got loose trying to slow the truck up.
Yeah, he had to really slow down significantly, and he actually locked up his tires a little bit, so he's definitely coming into the pits, as is the rest of the field. It's time to get those tires changed.
Yep, they've been out for a while. We talked about the fall off on the lap times. Anybody who stays out is certainly going to regret it. Craig Holden's getting a lap back, so that's why he is currently out on track. Smith does return in the lead. Hartman in second and Hawley in third, so no change there for any of the top four. Mogard back there in that P4. So everything kind of stays put even with pit stops. This gives us a little bit of a chance to go over the team points. And Adam, you were going over some of the intricacies of that with me because there's some power moves happening in the silly season here.
Definitely. So Back Row Bandit were the most consistent at Talladega with Dominic Pagine and Christopher Burnham on that team in third and fourth position. But then we get to the interesting stuff. Riding shotgun this year is Adam Young and Daniel Knight, and Rescue Racing Paw Petrol is Austin Hunter and Nicholas Hunter. We've seen those two race well as well, but it's those last two back here. What about Ramrod and 24/7 Motorsports where things get really exciting? What about Ramrod is Bradley Hawley, our last year's season champion, and William Hartman, who challenged Bradley Hawley for the championship the previous season. So that's a very strong team. And then 24/7 Motorsports, that's Josue Tellez and Paul Williams. We saw those two battling for race wins later on in the season last year. So those are two very strong drivers who are definitely going to be putting a challenge to the What About Ramrod guys.
Lights are still on the pace car. We're waiting for those to go off before we get that one to go signal. Looks like Thomas Sink had a bit of a long stop, and I'm not sure what exactly caused that. The number 48 falls down to 35th with that. I also see Brett Adams was in a little bit long. So was Dan McLaren, unusually.
Yeah, we had a couple of slow stoppers and a couple of folks who had a little bit of issue getting into their boxes as well, and not many people lost that much on pit road, but Adam Young looks like he missed his box a little bit and had a slow stop as well, so he lost some positions all the way back to 27th. So quite a few people struggling on pit road right now.
Now, if you followed us last season, you already know this, but if you're just joining us this season, this is some information that might be helpful in terms of drivers and as the season goes on, where they grid. They have caution points, as they call them in this series. These are basically penalty points on your license, kind of like what you see in Formula One, where if you cause a caution, you get points on your license, and if you accrue enough of them within a certain amount of races, you're given an EOL. If you get enough of them beyond that, you actually can get banned for a race, and even banned for a season if you're bad enough over enough of the races. So drivers do need to behave. They do keep track of things here in the PRL, and they try to keep things clean, as it looks like the lights are off, Adam, so we're going to get going back racing soon.
Definitely. It's going to be interesting to see whether J.R. Smith can pull the wool over William Hartman and Bradley Hawley a third time. He didn't really succeed in that first restart, but he did catch Bradley Hawley napping a little bit on the second one. So with William Hartman as his challenger on the outside, let's see whether or not he can do any better.
Indeed, it's going to start up very soon as they now come into turn 3. Smith has been the dominating force up at the front. He's had the pace. In fact, I think he's led every lap so far, if I remember correctly. So let's see if he can continue that pattern. Pace car is in. Smith has control, holds it a little bit, but gets on the loud pedal, and the green flag is out. Behind him, it looks like a small look to the inside from Bradley Hawley on the number 67, but he starts to back out of it down into the first two corners. Mogard, oh, we got a spinner. That's Haynes.
Quite a few spinners, actually.
Looks like those cool tires are tough. Williams, another one that found himself turned around. I don't think either driver hit the wall.
No, I didn't see any contact either. I was watching the three-way battle with Paul Williams and Rachel Hunt, and man, Rob Haynes just looks like he lost it a little. Let's see what happens here on the turn 1.
Yeah, neither incident was caused by contact, but I see Brendan Shatley did hit Williams. Big T-boned.
Yeah, this is the cold tires, Joe. This is those cold tires. This is the first time that they've changed tires this race. This is a place that this is a situation they haven't run into before.
With nobody around him, you could see the rear just snapped, and then there was Williams as well coming around with the contact that was made. Let's watch Williams' perspective.
He's just coming off of this corner. Those rear tires just light up. They don't grip the road, and so he gets T-boned by Chatley, who had nowhere to go there.
Good job by both drivers to keep it off the wall, though. Be a little bit of damage on the number 7, but it didn't look like a heavy hit to the left side of that truck. Looks like he's going to elect to come down pit lane regardless.
Yeah, Paul Williams has a little bit of damage to that front left side. That front left bumper looks a little bit punched in, so he's going to need a little bit of repairs on that, and it's possible that that front left toe is out as well, which could be a longer stop for him.
Well, with this being our third caution of the race, we're going to take a small break here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. Hopefully we get a little bit more green flag racing. We had a nice run in the middle, but we've still got lots more to go here in round 2 at Iowa. We're going to get another restart here, and it's going to be J.R. Smith up at the front once again. We've already seen cold tires prove a little bit tricky for our drivers at the last restart. Let's see if everybody can keep it pointed forward this time. As the pace car getting ready to come down into pit lane. Could Hartman maybe give a challenge? No. Oh, a horrible start for Hartman. In fact, he's already going to be passed by his teammate. J.R. Smith is going to pull away from both of them as Holly now gets into second. Mogard looks at potentially third. 67 almost got into Holly down into turn 1. Off for 2. This is where we got to watch. Everybody still has very cold tires out here. So far, so good, and I think we're going to stay green.
Yeah, it's interesting. Not many people were warming up their tires under the yellow flag. I know that's not eventually been the right call, but it's also causing them to start these restarts with very loose tires, and we almost had a wreck at the back of the field in front of John LaBaff. I believe that was Brandon Walter who almost spun it coming off the corner, but this lead is not going away. Looks like we got battling going on for those front positions.
Yeah, looks like Mogard might be able to overtake Hartman from second place on the restart down to fourth here, maybe. He's on the low side, which has been undesirable thus far. He's using those fresh tires for some grip at this point, and he's going to make Mogard work for it.
This is where the magic of that new tire model comes into play. This is something you could not do on the old tire model. And look at that. William Hartman really drifting up to the high side there. Mogard just able to hold on to it. William Hartman's going to have to back off in order to not get into Mogard. But yeah, this new tire model really makes it possible to run different lines than you could before.
Johnson's starting to catch up to the 67 now. He's bringing Clement with him. See someone double wide below them. I think that was Daniel Knight losing a position to Burnett. So Burnett up to 8th place in the number 39. In fact, he might be one of our biggest movers up at the front of the pack because he started in 16th.
Yeah, William Hartman still trying to hunt down Jared Mogard and trying to make this work, but up ahead of him, Bradley Hawley looks like he's a little bit closer to J.R. Smith than he has been in the past. Mogard going a little deep into 3 and 4. He's going to be able to make it work, but that looked like it spent a little bit of his right rear tire there. Now let's see whether or not William Hartman can capitalize on Mogard going deep into these corners.
Well, Mogard certainly giving his opinion there to Hartman with his rear bumper. As just ahead of them, Hawley's starting to challenge J.R. Smith. And, you know, from what we've seen in seasons past, Adam, if Hawley gets by Smith, it might be good night because Hawley usually has incredible pace over the field.
Definitely. Bradley Hawley really knows how to run his own race and get pace. Look at this. He's right on the rear bumper of J.R. Smith. He's going to look low. No, he's not. J.R. Smith actually decides to take that middle line. Bradley Hawley's going to go to the high side, see if he can power out.
Not quite there. In fact, he gets loose and has to catch it as they come off of turn 4. Doesn't give him the shot he needs to head down to the inside.
Josue Tellez is in an accident on the front stretch across the start-finish line.
His third of tonight. He winds up stopped sideways, and this was with Nick Hunter, it looks like.
Yeah, so this was him just getting loose off the corner, I believe. We're going to take a look at it. Oh, he was a potential 3-wide situation with the 31 truck. And man, that was heavy contact off the corner. Watch this.
Yeah, he's going to smack that outside wall. Ugh. If he manages to keep this going, I mean, he must have somehow put the spirit of a cat inside of him because he's seemingly got 9 lives so far with all the accidents he's been involved with. In fact, there's only been 1 caution of the ones we've had so far that he hasn't been involved with.
Yeah, Nick Robbie up on that high side. Josue was just trying to stay off of him. And then Dan McLaren didn't see Nick Robbie on that high side and just came up off the corner on his normal line and got into the side of Josue. And now Josue, significant damage to that truck if he didn't already have it.
He's come down into his pit stall as the leaders are just now joining. So it is going to put him a lap down, unfortunately. Everybody now trundling down pit lane, but Smith didn't come in. Ooh. Chatley stays out. Hunter stays out. Richter does as well.
All right, this is the first chance that we're going to have to see what the difference is between old tires and new tires. And it wasn't that long of a run. Granted, they've been on these tires for 20 laps, but most of those have been pace laps, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. It's all the way down to 9th in Barry Peel, who stayed out.
Yeah, it looks like Nick Pruitt is our first on 2 stops, but I think Pruitt also stayed out. Williams elected to stay out as well. And Bradley Hawley is going to return in 14th. This could be a ploy for track position.
You know, Joe, he might be betting on the fact that we're getting a lot of cautions now. So if we get another caution in the next 10 to 15 laps, well, frankly, in the next 10 laps, these guys ahead of him are going to have to come in, and he might be able to regain those positions and maybe even gain the lead off of that.
It could be. Smith is the one I'm really worried about staying out because he has everything to lose effectively. So we're going to stay just at least another 2 laps here under caution. I think Williams is in another... No, he came in after he went around last time because I remember he just did not go in. They're getting some communication with the stewards. I wonder if he accidentally got a black flag somehow.
Yeah, it's possible he did, but at this stage, it might be a little bit too late to get his lap back, unfortunately. So, unless he gets queued for a wave by the stewards, he's going to be stuck there. It's going to be very interesting to see what these drivers up front are going to be able to do on these older tires. We got all the way back to Barry Peel, who have not pitted this last time, and then Paul Johnson in 10th is the first truck with tires, and he took 2 along with Christopher Burnham and Mike Burnett.
Yeah, I was just noticing that as well. 3 drivers have taken a gamble to see if maybe they could get themselves some track position. Hopefully it handles well with how loosey-goosey things get on cold tires. That's going to be interesting. And let's see, are we lights out yet? No, we are not. We're still lights on the pace car for these drivers. Let's look at our winners and losers in this one, especially now that things have gotten shuffled up on pit strategy. One of the big ones, Barry Peel started this one in 36 and is currently in 9th right now. There you see on screen. How about Nick Pruitt, though? He did put a qualifying time in. He started 40th, which is, I believe, effectively second to last on the field. And he's now up to 8th position with this last call. I can understand why the number 71 decided to take a little bit of a risk to get himself farther up. So this could make him look like a little bit of a hero if he can manage to hold on to it.
Austin Hunter is another driver who made significant positions. He's up 26 positions up to that 3rd spot. So he's really got a strong buffer of trucks behind him, between him and those trucks with new tires. So it's going to be very interesting to see whether or not those new tires will wear out by the time they get up to him.
It's a mixed bag on strategy. It's a lack of experience on a new, what is, I guess you could call tire compound here on iRacing. So drivers are going off into the unknown here, and we are as well really unsure about how this is all going to shape up if we get a lot more green flag racing. The 59 sporting a little bit of damage there on his front. Brennan Shatley, of course, we saw one of the ones that made contact under one of the cautions. As the green flag comes out and Smith starts to get away, Chatley follows side by side between Hunter and Richter behind them, but they're going to get single file by the time they come down into turn 1. It is a mess farther back, though. Paul Johnson on his 2 tires is absolutely screaming through the field right now. And in fact, Brennan Shatley has gained a ton of positions, and Bradley Hawley, rather, and he's up to 11th now.
It is 4 wide back there for 11th, 12th, 13th. These guys, something happened with the drivers ahead of them. They really did not get off. And wow, we have a caution right now. That is John LeBaff and Adam Shane.
We have a little bit of chatter again on the oh, and you know what? This was LeBaff spinning out into Shane.
Yes.
Looks like Adam Young was in the wrong place at the wrong time too. So that's 2 of the riding shotgun trucks unfortunately involved. Young, though, gets away with it pretty well. If you want a wild ride, let's get an onboard of Young after this.
And Joe, I'm actually going to take a look at that restart there, because a lot of stuff happened there in the mid-pack just coming to the line. So it's possible that we might have some penalties coming out of this.
Indeed. Let's see here. They are reviewing the restart here. We're hearing from the stewards. There's Young losing it, fighting it, losing it again. Oh, and he catches in the grass of all places too. The 42. Brilliant stuff from the Texans.
All right, Joe, I've gone back and taken a look at the restart, and Barry Peel actually has significant front-end damage, and his truck does not have any acceleration, and that's what held up that bottom line and caused the bottle up. That's not what caused the wreck, but it definitely caused those 4 wide situations. So he's in the pits now getting repairs done, and that truck might be done for the day.
Ooh, yeah. Oh, man. That is some bad damage on the front. That's not going to help his top speed, his engine, anything there for the number 9. So much needed repairs right now in the pit lane for him. J.R. Smith didn't do too bad, and in those few laps, lap and a half, I guess, of green flag racing, Hawley's managed to get up to 10th in that.
Yeah, he took advantage of the chaos and he kept his nose clean. He almost got clipped off a couple of times. He could have stuck his nose into a couple of different situations, making things 4 or 5 wide, but he thought better of it. He knows that these championships are all about the long game. Bradley Holly is in no hurry to get up to the front, even though we're getting close to, I believe we're going to be getting close to having to finish this on time based upon how many caution laps we have, but Bradley Holly, he gained 4 positions on that restart, so he's not in a hurry to get up to the front right now.
Yeah, I do believe another caution will end it, will make it end under time, because right now we've got about 23 minutes left to go. We're 60 laps in. That's just past halfway. So at that pace, obviously, it would end under time. But if they can keep it green till the end, they could just maybe squeak it in. The drivers that pitted this last time. Let's see if we got anybody back out. John LaBaff has returned. He's going to restart in 30 seconds, still on the lead lap, but is about 10 lap fresher tires than those in front of him. So he could make some inroads.
Yeah, John was the one who spun out and kind of caused that last incident. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do with his damaged truck and to see whether or not he can claw it up there. It's right side damage, so it's not as bad as it could be, but that's still going to be something that might be hurting his turn-in when he gets to turn 1.
And the lights are still on after they've crossed the start-finish line. William Hartman down in 13th is still on pretty fresh tires, but remember, he's trying to chase Bradley Holly, his teammate, to see if he can get back to the front. See if any of our other fast guys are a little farther down into the field. Colton Lane in 19th. He's usually got pretty good pace. He's got some work to do as well.
And Joe, one driver that has not been able to recover ever since having trouble on pit road is Thomas Sink. He's down in the 28th position, and because we've been so riddled with cautions in this race ever since he had that moment, he has not been able to gain any positions and get back up there to the front. He was battling in the top 10 before, and now stuck all the way back in the back of the pack.
Where is Josue Telez as well? He's down in 38th, 2 laps down actually, so he's going to need some lucky dogs to get back into this thing. We have had a couple retirees. Todd Smith is gone. Nick Hunter, unfortunately, has been in for about 10 minutes for repair, so not sure that we'll see him get back out. Barry Peel, also, we've reported on him coming in with significant damage, has not exited yet. Not sure if he'll return. Adam Shane is also gone now and left the session, so he is for sure DNF'd. That leaves us with what looks like 35 drivers still running out there. As we go double file, we're getting ready for another restart. It's going to be on lap 63, and J.R. Smith, who continues to lead the way, is going to be ahead of Brennan Chatley.
And Joe, I believe that secures him the most laps led this race. We'll have to double check it on Countback, but he will definitely get that extra point if he leads these next couple laps.
All right, pace car's in and green flag is out. Good start for Smith. Brennan Chatley and his teammate Austin Hunter slotting into second and third. Back down there. How about Rob Haynes getting back into thing? The teammate to Smith is looking to see if he can get himself into fourth because he's got a good run on Mike Richter as he goes down the low side, down the backstretch.
And that gaggle you see behind them, that's Blaine Adams in the bright blue truck that had significantly trouble on the restart. He actually caused a big bottle up that put damage on both Bradley Holly and William Hartman's trucks, so he's struggling right now, and so are they.
They come around. Ooh, things awful tight here in the mid-pack. You can see Rachel Hunt there running in 15th down to the low side of Blaine Adams. Hartman still working on Mogard in front of him, but Mogard's got Daniel Knight there. Knight, one of our race winners from last season. Hunt to the inside of, looks like Blaine Adams up to her outside.
I can report J.R. Smith has taken off. He's got a half-second lead already over Brendan Chatley and Austin Hunter, and those two are kind of battling it out with each other. But then we have Rob Haynes behind them, who's trying to hold off Paul Johnson with Mike Richter up his tail. So this top 5, this top 10 actually, is not very separated.
And don't look now. Bradley Hawley up to 7th already. He's at the tail of this train. There you can see him in the blue and orange machine as they come down through 3 and 4. Very different lines for each driver down through that corner. As Haynes continues to try and apply pressure on the number 29, or excuse me, on the number 312 rather.
Bradley Hawley, we're on board with going underneath Mike Richter. He is just cutting through the field up to 6th now. Mike Richter's going to try and hold on the outside, but Bradley Hawley has an understanding of this truck. He really seems to be making it work. It looks like it's possible Mike Richter might be able to do the over-under on him. Let's see whether or not he can hold it on the low side.
Ooh, Hunter making a move on Chatley for 2nd place as well, down to the low side there. As we watch the battle between the 51 and the 184 of Richter and Hawley. Both battles continuing side by side as they sandwich Haynes and Johnson between them. Looks like it's going to come out in favor of Hawley, still holding on to 6th place, but it's not settled for 2nd place. They lose ground on J.R. Smith with all this side-by-side racing. Behind them, Haynes tried to use a little bit of a run, but he checks up with nowhere to go.
Yeah, Joe, the one person this is really benefiting is J.R. Smith. He's out to a 1.5 second lead and gaining even more time. And Bradley Hawley's stuck behind this battle that's 2 wide right now, possibly 3 wide, as Rob Haynes looks like he might want to get into this.
Yeah, how eagerly does Hawley want to try and get by, because he knows he's losing time to Smith at this point. Oh, as he drifts up, but everybody manages to stay out of each other. Chatley continuing to fall behind Haynes now, who moves himself up onto the podium. Not even 3 wide, but 4 wide here as they come off the corner. This is not going to end well. Into the wall goes, that was Johnson. Everybody manages to avoid, and no caution.
Unbelievable. A little bit of contact between Bradley Hawley and Paul Johnson, and Johnson able to hang on to it.
Yeah, but he lost a lot of positions with that. Let's watch the replay. He had a hard smack to the outside wall. He might not be handling well after that.
He likely won't be, but it was a miracle he was able to keep it forward. You saw just how many saws at the wheel he had to take. Impressive stuff. But Bradley Hawley on the charge now underneath Rob Haynes.
This is for 4th place. He's making quick work of the field now, gobbling them up and spitting them out. Haynes is going to try and fight him for it. He's using the high line, but the low line's starting to come in a little bit as Hawley very fast through there, 3 and 4. Jared Mogard follows through and demotes Haynes another position.
J.R. Smith out to 2.3 seconds of the lead. This man has taken off and showing speed that no one else can rival right now. He is way out on the lead.
Still on much better tires, 21 laps separating Smith and Hawley's tire age right now. He's going to get to the inside of Hunter. Hunter stays up high, and Hawley, who sends it in deep, doesn't quite have it fully passed yet, but coming off the corner, there he goes. Mogard staying with it. Mogard just holding on to the coattails of the number 184 and following him through, but this time they're going to split potentially 3 wide for 2nd.
Oh, man, Mogard hunting back out of it. Bradley Hawley able to get the speed and go on by. We have not seen Bradley Hawley be this aggressive in about a season, taking it 4 wide and putting it 3 wide there for a moment. He's really showing that he needs to get up to J.R. Smith. He's going to try and close that gap now that he's up to 2nd.
Yeah, clear track. We'll watch the laps between them. Mogard did get back by Hunter and get that 3rd place. Now he's going to try and repass Brendan Chatley, but he doesn't have the speed down the front stretch as we watch from on board Hawley at this fight for 3rd.
Yeah, look at this mess behind them. This is 3rd all the way back to 10th with Rob Haynes rounding out the field. Rachel Hunt's up to 11th as well, coming up behind Rob Haynes. All these people are battling for positions right now. This is intense racing, Joe.
Mogard finally gets past Chatley through 3 and 4, and he's got it done now. Almost brushes the wall down the front stretch, though. Hartman now going to get into it. Almost contact between Chatley and Mogard. He stays out of it, but it sends him way up the hill. And Hartman says, thank you very much. I'll take that 3rd place. No, 4th place, rather.
Oh, and that, wow, an impressive move. That was Mike Burnett going underneath Austin Hunter. It's not going to work. They're almost together. That's a 17 of Daniel Knight almost getting collected by Burnett. They're all going to have to back out, but man, that was close.
Yeah, everybody manages to come away from it. Christopher Burnham just in front of them is eager to get away from that fighting. He's got Austin Hunter just in front of him. We've been green for quite a while now. There's still got 13 minutes left on the clock, and it has been frantic up at the front. Honestly, it's a miracle we've stayed green.
And Joe, I know we're having a lot of battles here, but I do want to go up to J.R. Smith for a moment. Well, I thought that Bradley Holly was going to be able to close on him when Bradley Holly broke from the pack, but J.R. Smith's been able to hold it. 2.6 seconds. He's actually gaining time on Bradley Holly ever since Bradley broke out into the second.
There, we're going to be looking at the difference in laps between them. Of course, some of those will probably be when Holly was still fighting through, but these recent three, you can see that Holly was a little bit quicker, but not by much.
Oh, a wreck! And Paul Johnson looks like he saved it again!
Unbelievable. What a night he's been having. He's down to 20th, but at least he's still running.
And just as we go to this replay, they did wreck, so we'll stay on this. But watch Paul Johnson save this right here. Unbelievable save from him.
That's Jake Hounshell that tips him. The 70 catches it. Beautiful stuff. And then oh, that was the 7.
Is that?
The 7 got into Jake Hounshell.
Paul Williams again. Oh, what a night he's having.
And one of the drivers with the worst luck in this series, poor Adam Young. He was just caught up in it with no place to go. In fact, he hit one pack, and then he got hit by J.R. Bash, appropriately named, who just found himself running into the side of the Texan.
Okay, we're going to take a look on board with Houndshell. He just was coming up the track. He didn't realize it was 3 wide. He didn't realize that the 7 was there. The 7 didn't realize that he was coming up, so I think that was just a racing incident. But, man, this gaggle, it was impressive to see all these drivers hang on to it over the course of this last restart.
This might have actually been a mercy for J.R. Smith. Remember, he was out for many, many laps. I think he had like 50 laps on his tires or something. And now he's able to come down and get some fresh ones, and pretty much everybody is following. But Thomas Sink decides to try and risk it all and stay out while on the lead lap. Interesting.
Well, Thomas was mired back in the 28th position, so he's really got nothing to lose staying out there. So if he could gain a little bit of track position, just the smallest amount, I mean, starting off first, what's the worst you can end up? As long as you don't get wrecked, that is.
Ooh, and Mogard beat Hartman out. So that swaps around for what is now 3rd and 4th position,
and
with 2nd and 3rd of the drivers who've pitted.
And Joe, Bradley Holly, I'm not sure. I think he must have missed his pit stall, because he comes out in the 6th position behind Brendan Chatley and William Hartman.
Hearing a little bit of apologies from drivers out there for some of the incidents that happened. As we mentioned, pretty much everybody came in. I'm seeing Craig Holden stayed out, and in fact, 51 laps on his tires. Bajin is still out there as well. He did not pit. Everybody else was in, other than Sink.
And Joe, I can report Joe, that Bradley Holly did miss his pit box. He had to take a couple of different swings at it to get in position, so he's lost a couple positions. We've seen him do this before, but he's always been able to recover. Will he be able to do that again tonight?
Yeah, Bradley Holly has a habit of charging through the field when he needs to. In fact, sometimes puts himself back there. Well, Thomas Sink, he's going to put himself to the back of the pack as well. He didn't like being the only person to stay out. So the number 48 comes down pit lane, and Smith will take the lead back over. A lot of drivers going to get their laps back. Hunter, Hilton, Telez, Bajin, Peel, all going to get laps back. Means quite a few drivers came back out to try and salvage whatever laps they could. Maybe try and get a few positions and points in the process, because now I'm only seeing Adam Shane and Todd Smith having retired.
Yeah, Jared Mogard, his pit crew doing a great job. Not only his pit crew, but also him. He cut about 0.2 seconds off on pit road, and his pit crew was a little slower than William Hartman, but he grabbed that second position from Hartman on pit road alone. So impressive stuff from him.
As they now come up to the line. Not sure that we're going to get the lights out this time by. Let's watch the pace car. We've got 8 minutes left on the clock. We are definitely not going to make it to the end of this race. Lights are out with 8 minutes to go. So we're probably going to be restarting with 7 minutes to go. Laps go at about 24 seconds currently. So 4 laps a minute at 7 laps. Oh, do we dare do math on air?
I try not to.
Yeah, I usually don't too. Right now, they're trying to let trucks go by, I think. Okay, they're cycling them to the back, it looks like, because we're so close to the end. So leaders are now coming up to the front. They're trying to get the lap trucks out of the way. Don't see that they've waved off the restart, so it should be going here. As the Mustang pace car now leading them out of 4 and coming into the lane. Smith has control. He backs them up slightly and he gets going. Mogard to his outside does not get a good jump on him. In fact, Hartman already looking to his inside and looking to take away that second position. He might have it here off of turn 2 if he could just get the run. Mogard's not going to let him have it as he stays with it.
A much cleaner restart in the mid-pack as well. Nobody slowing down that much, but they're already starting to battle for those lower positions in the top 10. But look at this. Still side by side for second.
Mogard is making them work for it. Back behind them. Bradley
and we have
Holly
a wreck on the front stretch. That's Brandon Walter going around, as well as Blaine Adams.
They were all off the racing line, so we didn't get a caution for quite a while. So it looks like there was multiple incidents. Blaine Adams spun on his own. And then we had one truck down low. Trying to figure that's Brandon Walter. He made contact, hard contact with is that Rob Haynes? Yeah.
I believe so, yes. Rob Haynes actually hit the wall exiting 4, and that's what caused this whole incident.
Haynes scored in 26 right now, as he's fallen well down the order.
Yeah,
Haynes
if you
just getting loose.
Yeah, we're gonna take a look at this. Rob Haynes, gets loose off of 4 and clobbers the outside wall and shoots back down into the rest of the pack. Look at this.
That's Harrison who hits him. Wow. Harrison holds on to it, and the 29 with a beautiful barrel roll eventually winds up back on his wheels, but the car is so damaged you can see already smoking that's the night over, unfortunately, for Haynes.
All right. This is going to be interesting, Joe, to see how close we get here with time. The amount of time we spent under the yellow flag has been about 3 to 4 minutes, so we're going to be close to the 2-minute mark when they do this restart.
Oof. So that's going to be very tight. They do have a green-white checkers, just to remind you. They have 1 attempt at it in this league, and then from there, the overtime ends. So we've got roughly 5 minutes left. Your order currently is Smith leading, Hartman second, Mogard third, Holly's back up to 4th. Austin Hunter, not a bad showing there, getting himself into track position. He stayed out on old tires, remember, on one of those cautions, and that's got him into 5th. Hunt for the ride-in shotgun team, or excuse me, Daniel Knight, rather, for the ride-in shotgun team, has moved himself up to 6th over the course of the race. So that is a good showing there for his team. Drivers discussing the wave around procedures here with the admins. Apparently there was a little bit of confusion there at the end.
Well, in that big confusion, as you just read, Joe, William Hartman made his way by Jared Mogard, but that's actually not necessarily a benefit to him. because Hartman is going to be in the position of trying to anticipate when J.R. Smith's going to go, and that might give Mogard that preferred inside line we've seen on these fresh tires.
That's
So
true.
it's possible Hartman might got stuck on the outside here.
Yeah, ooh, I didn't even think about that. It is effectively, as we said, short track racing. You don't always want that outside on the restarts. So as we come by, we're now down to 3.5 minutes left to go. It might even be less than 2 minutes left when we get the green because the lights aren't off on the pace car right now. Yeah, we might even be down to about a minute and a half left on the clock once we get going here.
Be about 3 laps, I think, if that's the case.
Drivers who have left now that we've had some more damage. Brandon Walter, we mentioned, involved in the incident. Rob Haynes with his smoking engine is definitely done. I see that Jake Hounshaw is going to try and get a little bit more repairs. We have a lot of cars that are a lap down or more. There's only 29 left on the lead lap of our 41 starters. But ahead of it all has been this man right here, J.R. Smith, has really dealt with it all just unflappably, if that I can make up a word there. It seemed like nothing's phased him.
Yeah, at this point, he's definitely got 3 bonus points. He's got pole. He's led a lap. He's led the most laps. And we'll have to wait till see at the end of the race to see whether or not he has less than 3 incidents. If that's the case, then he also gets an extra point there. So J.R. Smith, if he could just keep it clean here for the last couple laps here, he's going to have a really, really nice points day.
Is that actually a perfect points day? Does he have fastest lap right now?
I don't know. I don't believe he does, but I don't believe that they give points for it, do they?
Hartman has the fastest lap we're hearing. And yes, they do give a point for fastest lap from what I'm seeing in the rules. So he's not going to quite get a perfect race here unless he has a phenomenal lap here at the end. They are going to get restarted with a minute and a half left on the clock as the pace car is now in. J.R. Smith. Good restart from him. Green flag is out. Hartman already being challenged by Mogard. What is Holly going to do in this? Is he just going to try and bring it home in the top 5? Does he try and go for the win? Holly gets really loose, actually, off of the turn. So does Hunter below. Hunter spins to the inside. He's off the racing line. If he can stay off, no, caution is out. We're going to go to a green-white checker. That was oh so close. If the 312 had locked up his brakes, I don't think we would have had that caution.
Yeah, he just gets loose off the corner. This is just one of those... Actually gets a little bit of help. Everybody was loose off the corner. He gets loose himself and then tries to save it and gets tapped by the 17. We're going to see this as they come through 1 and 2 here.
Boy, that is a shame for Hunter. The 312 now at the very back of the field, and he's only going to get what is essentially 2 laps to try and do something. And actually, I think time will run out, so this should be a 1-lap shootout when we get the green.
Actually, we're not...
See if we get the white flag or the checkers here. We're not seeing it quite yet. The clock is ticking down right now. We're waiting to see what the timing and scoring is going to show us. So we are getting final lap, but are we going to get the checkered flag here? No. We are on final lap now. This could mean it will end under yellow.
I believe so, Joe. I believe this will secure J.R. Smith the victory here.
Well, interesting. Not sure why we're not getting the green-white checkers message. Did we not have one scheduled for this race? Maybe they updated the rules and we didn't quite check it. We'll have to double-check that, see if maybe they changed it since last season. Yeah, I'm still not getting any green-white checkers attempt message. So we're going to, I think, call it once we get to the line, because if we see that checkered flag, that will absolutely mean that J.R. Smith has won round 2. They come out of the final turn and across the line, and still no checkered flag there for J.R. Smith.
This is an interesting scenario that we find ourselves in. It's a very unique one. I don't believe I've ever seen a race continue on past the timer without a call from the stewards for a green-white checker. So we'll have to wait and find out what the iRacing stewards decide that they're going to do for the end of this race.
Well, main thing is I hope that we aren't stuck in a glitch where we've got a permanent loop for the safety car and we're just going around for, however many laps until the session closes. Smith is still waiting for that checkered flag himself. I'm sure he would love to get some sort of confirmation that he's won this race. Here we go. Checkered flag is now officially being waved. J.R. Smith in the number 3 is going to win round number 2 in the PRL NASCAR Truck Series. He'll be followed home by Hartman as Mogard rounds out the podium and the fireworks start to go off. We're going to take a quick break here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. We'll come back after just a moment and give you the unofficial results as well as driver interviews. Stick around. On screen, you'll see all the upcoming races here on GSRC. Back to Iowa Speedway. We just watched round 2 in the PRL NASCAR Truck Series, and it was J.R. Smith who was your winner. William Hartman, who was up towards the front as well as J.R. for much of this race, managed to finish second despite starting third. Mogard went from 5th to 3rd, and Bradley Hawley unfortunately went downwards. He was 4th at the end of the day, being on the front row when the green dropped. Then you start to get into drivers that pulled a little bit of strategy and moved themselves upward. Daniel Knight with a nice 5th place. Christopher Burnham with 6th, and Brendan Chatley 18th to 7th. Mike Burnett took 8th place. Trevor Clement stayed put. He started 9th, finished 9th. And then Rachel Hunt did climb a little bit and managed a 10th.
Charles Sumner climbed 10 positions himself and came to 11th position, with Jeff Harrison gaining 5 for 12. Colton Lane unfortunately went a little backwards at the end of that run, coming home in the 13th position, with Adam Zemke jumping quite a few positions up to 14th. And we have Dan McLaren in 15th, and 16th is going to be Jason Townshell with a good day as well, with Nick Robbie behind him, following him through the field, with Matthew Aubrey as well following him, and then Brian Hotham and Brett Adams rounding out their top 20.
Paul Williams finished 21st today, with Paul Johnson in 22nd. Then you got Thomas Sink in 23rd. And John LaBaff coming back for 24th despite some issues partway through. Nick Pruitt was P25 today. Blaine Adams in 26. Adam Young did come back out after his hard hits and managed 27th. Mike Richter 28th today. Last two on the lead lap was Jake Hounshell and Austin Hunter in 29th and 30th. Everybody else that you see on your screen was a lap down or more of our 41 drivers today. We've got J.R. Smith ready to talk to us. Justin, congratulations on the win out here in round 2. It looked like you had control for much of this race and really didn't have too much to worry about for most of it.
Yeah, it was a fun race. The new tire compound, I've not very familiar with it, so that was a struggle in practice getting used to that. Really came down to the restarts, having control of the restarts played big dividends, and then staying out that one run to get the track position for the end really paid key tonight.
And you finished well down the order at Talladega, unfortunately, winding up 22nd in the points. Coming out with a victory in the second part and knowing that you have at least one drop race in your pocket, does this make you feel a lot of confidence for the rest of the season?
Yeah, because I mean, Talladega is a thing of its own. You can't really rely on that to know how you're going to do the rest of the season. Yeah, this was a good track. I think our whole team ran pretty well tonight. That's promising for the rest of the year. This is I'd say this is a pretty tough track to get your hands on to get speed at. So, yeah.
Awesome stuff. Well, Justin, next round is going to be very different. Once again, we're going to extremes on disciplines with Eldora. How are you on dirt?
I'd like to say I'm not too bad. We ran here a couple seasons ago, and I think I led every lap except the last one. So I'm gonna go back there with a little vengeance, trying to get it this.
Yeah, obviously you've got a bone to pick and something to make up for there. But congratulations once again. Anybody you'd like to thank before you go?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Precision Racing League put it on, Established Traffic Control for being one of our sponsors, Roman Delight, Inline 309, Philly Paws, Camo, Animal Rescue, and then our team Rescue Racing. We're raising money for 2 different animal shelters based on how we finish through all of our drivers. Check us out at rescueracing.com, and we accept donations for anyone who's looking to help out, and y'all, of course, at GSRC for putting the races on.
Well, thank you very much. That was the number 3, J.R. Smith, our winner today, talking to us about his race. And up next, William Hartman joins us with Adam, asking him about his second place finish.
Yeah, William, after a tough race at Talladega, it must feel good to come back and be on form again. How was it racing up there for the front with the likes of Bradley Holly and J.R. Smith?
Yeah, it was a pretty good race for us. Refreshing to be up towards the front again. Like you said, a rough week last week, so just kind of came in trying to maximize points and try and run up front as much as we could. Some interesting pit strategies certainly mixed it up a bit, and we had to fight our way back up there, but luckily we were able to do so and come away with a decent finish. So I'd say mission accomplished for the second race of the season, get ourselves back up there in the points.
With the challenges of the pre-race, how hard was it to figure out how the car was going to drive on this new tire compound, considering you guys didn't have that much practice with the way that the new build was?
Yeah, it definitely made it interesting. You kind of came into tonight pretty blind on how the truck was going to handle. So luckily we were able to get a handle on it pretty early in practice, and it seemed to carry over decent for the race. So luckily we were able to hit on it and had a good night.
Well, William, fantastic finish today, and we look forward to talking to you more down the line.
All right, perfect. Thank you, guys.
All right, that was William Hartman, our second place finisher, and it looks like we have Jared Mogard here with Joe Peak.
Third place finisher tonight. Jared was another one of those that got sent back into the thick of the field because of the variety and strategy. What was going through your head when you suddenly saw a bunch of cars stay out there?
I was thinking I made a mistake, but it ended up working out all right, I guess.
Yeah, all's good that ends well, I suppose. Tell us, you've got an interesting message on the back of your truck, though. What exactly is with the "your team sucks" that you've got back there?
That's more or less a little message from a wig that I used to run. So that's what that's for. It's not toward anybody indirect, but there's a certain group out there, and they know who they are, and that is just a friendly reminder to them.
All right. Well, someone out there knows that they've been slammed, I guess. We're talking to the others about Eldora and how we're going to be putting on those dirt tires. Do you have much experience heading off the pavement?
Yes, actually, we are MOSRN and myself. We are kind of made a name for ourselves on the dirt. So definitely looking forward to getting back on the dirt and running the truck on the dirt. It's been a while since I've ran it, but yeah, definitely looking forward to it. It's right in our wheelhouse, and looking forward to it for sure.
Great stuff. Well, it sounds like a gauntlet has been thrown down. Anybody you want to thank here?
Yeah, I gotta thank iBuyPower Computers, Twitchy Race Reports, and Splash and Go Graphics for making our truck look good, and all the guys on MOSRN for all their support. So thank you guys for the broadcast and everybody at PRL for what they do, and looking forward to running this series all year long and seeing what kind of success we can have.
Great stuff. That was Jared Mogard, third place finisher, getting to spray the champagne tonight. And we're going to close out with a big thank you to our sponsor, of course, to the Diecast Kings. Check them out at diecastkings.com if you want to get anything from the NHRA or NASCAR diecast cars. Also, thanks to Precision Racing League for bringing us back another season of coverage, and a thank you to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast. You can see them listed here on your screen. Additional thanks go to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. Thanks to the team today, Sean, Adam, and Dougie, with a little bit of help behind the scenes from Kenny Kibbe and Jack Ritchie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. Also, check out our social media. Our Twitter is at GSR Channel, Facebook, Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram is at GSRC_Graham. Make sure and subscribe to our YouTube page, because if you do, you are automatically entered into a drawing for a free item from our merchandise store, which you can find in the link description below. And that is not just people who subscribe now, but those who have subscribed before December will also get a chance, as we'll pull 2 names for that. Next race, as we mentioned, we're heading over to Ohio for Eldora. That'll be Wednesday, January 8th. We'll have a little bit of a break over the holidays, and that'll kick off at 8:50 p.m. Eastern when we come back. We have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.